online.
Okay, so we've talked about oral presentation for 2 days now, or 3 videos actually. We've talked about the general tips for preparing, talked about some of the specifics about gathering material and choosing a structure. Last, we talked about language, or the English language that you're going to be using. Today, I want to keep talking about language. We're going to start talking about body language. What is body language? Just like English language or spoken language is used to communicate information. I have information in my head that I want to give to my audience, and I speak words that will help my audience understand my information. Your body language does the same thing. So I'm using my body in ways that help me communicate information to you. I am using my hands, my head, my body, my eyes, my mouth to actually give you the information in a way that isn't just words. Body language generally has 4 main parts. Your posture. Your posture is how are you standing? Or if you're sitting, how are you sitting? But how is your body? How are you holding yourself? That's posture. Posture is really important. We're going to go into more detail about that in a second. Gesture. Gesture is how I use my hands. So you see, I move my hands a lot. And how you use your hands can help you communicate the information in your presentation. Next, we have facial expression. You have a face. I have a face. It's always doing something, and what my face is doing is actually communicating information to my audience. And last, eye contact. I'm using my eyes, and I'm using my eyes to connect to my audience, but I can also use my eyes in ways that don't connect me to my audience, and I'll give you some examples of that in a moment. Research has actually shown that when we listen to a presentation, a lot of the information comes through our ears. Yes, we listen to the words that are spoken, and we internalize that information. We take that information in. But a lot of information, humans, us, we are visual creatures. A lot of the information that we get actually comes through our eyes. So what I'm doing with my face, what I'm doing with my eyes and my hands and my body actually does change the presentation. Even if you don't want to, you are using your body when you have a presentation. And so you need to make sure that you're thinking about, what am I doing with my body? What am I doing with my hands? What am I doing with my eyes? What am I doing with my face? And if you can start to think about how you're doing that, then you can use your body language to effectively help your presentation instead of hurt your presentation. So let's go into more specifics about these 4 different types of body language. So, starting with posture. Again, posture is how I hold myself. And how I stand can totally change the effect of my presentation. When you stand, you should keep your back straight. So, again, I want to stand like this. I don't want to stand like this. This is a weak stance. When I do this, I lose a lot of energy. It's hard to engage my audience when I'm standing like this. So keep your back straight. Keep your shoulders back. So rather than keeping them forward, again, this is closed. If I have a closed posture, it pushes my audience away. And it looks less confident too. Sometimes we can use our posture, we can use our body language to help us. When I stand like this, I feel more confident. I feel like I'm ready to give a speech or give a presentation. Your feet should be apart. You should not be standing with your feet close together, partly because it's easy to fall over. If your feet are right next to each other, it is really easy to fall over. So you keep your feet apart because that allows you to move back and forth, one, which is looser. It feels more natural. You should also keep a little bend in your knees. So I can literally bounce like this. But I can move back and forth, and I feel like I have a stronger stance. I feel grounded. Again, more confident. I'm not falling over. And then last, hands at your sides. A lot of times when people are in stage in front of people, they're nervous. They cross their arms. They put their hands in front of them. This can help you feel safer, but it doesn't look good, and it can prevent your audience from connecting to you. And so if you're going to put your hands down, put your hands at your side. Don't put them back behind you. Don't put them in front of you. You want to give your presentation confidently. By having your hands at your side, by having your body open to your audience, it can maybe makes you feel nervous at first, but this will help you feel more confident eventually. Your stance, standing strong, will make you feel confident, will help you with your presentation. And again, there's a big difference between me presenting to you like this and me presenting to you like this. I lose a lot of authority. I lose a lot of credibility when I stand like this. My audience doesn't necessarily want to listen to me or want to believe me, right? This makes me look like I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm presenting. So think about your posture next time that you're standing in front of people giving a presentation. Okay, that's a little bit about posture. Now let's move on to gestures. You see me using these a lot. Gestures are how I use my hands. You have hands, whether you want to or not, you have to use them. It's hard sometimes to think about what I'm doing with my hands. Sometimes I don't know what to do with my hands, but you have them, so you have to figure out how to use them. Gestures can be really helpful in moving things along, in connecting to your presentation, in highlighting important points. Gestures are used to help your audience understand the way that you deliver your language. So we're not illustrating by using gestures, we're emphasizing. What this means is we're not playing charades. You're not acting. So if you're giving a presentation about sports and you're talking about different sports and you talk about running and you talk about swimming and you talk about diving, you talk about basketball, you do not need to act those out. So you don't need to talk about running and basketball and tennis, right? That was not tennis, that was baseball. But you don't need to do that. That does not help your audience and it looks kind of silly. Instead, give them the points. We're talking about running and then we'll move on to talk about basketball and then we'll move on to talk about swimming, right? I can use the space around me to actually separate these ideas. I'm talking about this point up here, I'm talking about this point over here. That visual movement actually helps me organize my presentation. It helps me separate ideas and keep them distinct. One of the ways that we use our hands when we give a presentation is to actually grab the main points. So this is something that I want you to remember. This is a really important point, right? And so actually to in the air, to grab our language out of the air in a way that freezes it there and makes people focus on it. So I want you to remember that we can move from one point to the next point, and we can also grab the really important points and then release them to our audience. The way that we use our hands, English speakers, the way that we use our hands is as if we are taking the language that we are speaking. So I'm giving you words through my mouth, and I'm actually putting it into space because we are visual learners, right? So I want to take the language and make it visual. Also, you can point at points on the slideshow. So this is harder for me because I am obviously not actually with my slideshow right now. This is my slideshow. But if you are presenting in space with a slideshow, you can use that. You can turn around. I can't, like, my slideshow is not right here, but if it was, I could turn around and show you that I can point to, like, there's a point, there's another point. As you can see, I don't have my slideshow here, so it feels weird. But if my slideshow was here, interacting with my slideshow actually helps my audience connect to me, connect to the information on my slideshow. So it brings the whole presentation together. That's how we can use our hands. That's how we do gestures. That's the second part of body language. Oh, there's one more. Counting for lists. So when I'm going through a list, I can talk about not illustrating, talk about grabbing the main points, talk about pointing at main points on the slideshow, and counting for lists. So actually putting the points on my slideshow, the points that I'm giving you, into my fingers and counting them. That's one way that we use gestures. Okay, moving on to facial expression. Again, just like you have hands, you have a face. Your face is doing something, and it's important to know what it's doing and what information it's communicating. So think about what your face is telling your audience. You should look like you are interested in your own topic. I love presentation, and I think that comes through in the way that I talk about presentation. I love English. I love teaching. And so when I'm doing that, I put my interest into my face. If I look bored, if I look like I'm bored with my own topic, and it comes through not only in my face, but it comes through in my voice, it comes through, it immediately changes my posture. This is going to be a less interesting presentation to watch because you don't want to look at me because I don't look like I'm having fun with my presentation. So you want to animate your face. That comes through your eyes, through your eyebrows, through your mouth. You should smile. Some people, when they are just neutral, look like they are angry. I am one of those people. I can look really intense. You don't want to look intense when you give a presentation. So if you know that's true for you, practice smiling. Practice smiling in front of a mirror. Practice your presentation in front of a mirror. Look like you're having fun. Because if you look like you are enjoying your presentation, we, your audience, will enjoy your presentation even more. So think about what your face is doing. Try to animate it. If you're talking about something sad, you can look sad. But also make sure that you're engaging your audience through your face. Okay, that's about facial expression. Next, and finally, let's look at eye contact. Eye contact is super important, even in a presentation. If I'm giving a presentation to 5 people, or if I'm giving a presentation to 100 people, eye contact is still important, but it looks different in different scenarios. You do not want to be presenting over your audience. A lot of times people, when they are presenting, they are nervous. Part of it comes from being nervous about the presentation. You're excited, you're scared, you don't like presenting, and so you just look up above everybody's head, and I give you my presentation this way. And what the problem is that you're not actually connecting to anybody. I don't feel connected to you right now because I am not looking at the camera. I feel like I'm presenting to nobody, which is it hurts my communication because I really want to look at the camera right now. It's really hard actually to do this because I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just kind of giving information. So I'm not communicating. I use eye contact so that I communicate with you. I'm connecting to my audience. I'm connecting to the people that I'm talking to. Sometimes people get nervous and look down. This is weak, so it doesn't look good. Your audience knows that you're looking at the floor. And again, just like looking up, I'm not presenting to anybody. I'm just talking. I'm giving information to the floor, which hurts my communication. It hurts my connection with the audience. Don't present at the floor. What you should do is try to make eye contact with one person at a time. You cannot make eye contact with everybody at the same time, but you should look at individual audience members. So I'm talking to this person and I say that I shouldn't present over the audience. And I'm talking to this person and I say that you shouldn't present to the floor. I'm talking to you and I say you can make eye contact with one person at a time. If you make eye contact with one person, everybody in your audience will feel that eye contact. I promise you. So, and it can help you ground yourself. If I look at one person, my audience can become less scary. So presenting, using eye contact with one person at a time can actually help you handle your speech anxiety or your fear of public speaking. If you're giving a presentation online through Zoom or like I'm doing right now with a camera, look directly at the camera. Sometimes it's hard because you want to look at yourself, but I'm right here and you're right there. When you look at yourself in the Zoom, you're not communicating with people again. You're just looking at yourself. When I'm looking at myself, I'm constantly thinking about what I'm looking like, how am I standing, but I've forgotten already what the information that I'm trying to give to you. So if you're presenting with a computer, look at the camera. It will help you connect to your audience better. It will look better on your audience's side too. Okay, so that's a little bit of information about eye contact. The last part The last thing that I want to do really briefly is just give you a few tools to help you with pronunciation. Some of the harder pronunciation English phonemes for Thai speakers and for other speakers are the TH sound. So one way is that we practice our pronunciation is through things called tongue twisters, right? You probably know some of these. But here are a few tongue twisters that will actually help you with that TH sound. So you get 2 or 3 thick and thin trees. 2 or 3 thick and thin trees. 2 or 3 thick and thin trees. Take the sentence. Say it 20 times. You're going to hate it, I promise. But it'll help your presentation. They think this thing is the best thing. They think this thing is the best thing. That's even hard for me. But these will help you with those TH sounds, and there's lots more on the internet. What about the R and the L? These are sounds that Thai speakers mix up a lot, and not even just Thai speakers, but a lot of speakers of languages around the world. So I give you these. Red leather, yellow leather. This one's hard. This one is hard for English speakers. You're going to hate it again, but it will help you with those R's and L's. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. Or Rory's lawn really looks red. Sorry. Rory's lawn really looks red. Rory's lawn really looks red. These are going to be hard, but if you say them over and over, you drill them, they will help you with those sounds, those English sounds that are really difficult. So I give you these to go and practice on your own. So that brings me to the end of this presentation about body language and pronunciation. Keep thinking about your body language. Practice. Again, when you're practicing, practice in front of a mirror, practice in front of an audience. Think about how you're using your hands. Think about how you're holding yourself. Think about your face and your eye contact. Really focus on making that eye contact with your audience members. And then go ahead and practice some of these tongue twisters. Go ahead and find more online. Think about what are the hard sounds to make in English, and then go find tongue twisters for those sounds. Again, it'll be hard at first, but it will really help you in the long run. I hope some of these tips helped, and I will see you again one more time for the last video.